third-year PhD candidate at UMSL in Dr. Amy Dunlap's lab. The research that I'm working on here at Litzinger is part of my dissertation for my PhD, and I'm interested in how sweat bees behave in urban settings, like at community gardens that we see in St. Louis, and then at kind of suburban type prairies like we see here at Litzinger, and comparing that to kind of the natural systems that we see out at like a Shaw Nature Reserve, and if their foraging behavior varies at all across those three landscapes. So when we're assessing behavioral differences, the number one thing that we're looking at is foraging behavior, so how the bees are actually getting pollen off of these flowers. Foraging is not only important for the bees because that's how they feed their young, but of course it's important for pollination. So what I do is I film the bees on the flowers, and I'm slowing that film down to really look at the maneuvers that they're doing to collect pollen, and comparing that across all the sites to see, are they gathering pollen in a slow, methodical method? Are they quickly moving from flower to flower, which of course affects pollination services in general? And we're really taking that on a pretty comparative level.
My name is Ezra Kruzich, and I'm a senior biology student at UMSL with a neuroscience certificate, working in Dr. Dunlap's lab alongside Rachel Brandt for her PhD project. And what we're doing is we're analyzing the differences in genetic material in these sweat bees to see how those differences in genetic material lead to differences in behavior. And I'm really interested in this reductionist approach because I like to understand how differences in neurobiology can lead to major differences in behavior and personality and various things. And the more that I learn about these bees, the more that I can hopefully learn about humans. So that's kind of what I'm doing in this project.
So once the bees are collected from each site, what we do is we flash freeze them and take them to the lab where I take them to the lab where I dissect their brains and extract the brains and put them in preservative solution to be kept under refrigeration, so that when the season's over we can send those samples to the lab and analyze the differences in their genetic material so that we can understand how the differences in genetic material might lead to differences in behavior.
So, of course, we get questions all the time. If we're trying to save the bees, why would we collect the bees and take them from their habitats? Well, of course, we need to know a lot about what's going on, not only with the bee as it's out foraging, but also in its brain. And so when we take a very, very small subset of the bees that are out there, particularly social bees where they have large colonies, maybe 200, 300 individuals per colony, we're really not doing much damage to the population as a whole because they have plenty of workers that can take over and do what they need to do. And also they are reproducing more than once a year. So we have young that come out both in the early spring and again in the fall. So we're really not doing too much damage to the population as a whole.
Good morning, everyone. So, aside from the researcher spotlight that you just saw, the rest of this week's video is going to be more of an update of sorts of what's happening on site than what previous Friday volunteer video updates are like. Just because there's so much happening, and currently I don't have a lot of finished videos. There's been a lot of things happening here on site that I've been getting more cumulative video to where I can make a larger video soon. So, know that there's more videos coming. Lots of them. And yeah, just lots of different things happening here. And probably the very first thing that I want to share with you guys is that I'd say probably last week was the last big push of monarchs that I've been able to get video of here at Litzinger. And this past weekend, I was at Forest Park, and the same plants that we have here, the New England aster and the tall goldenrod, were just were covered with monarchs on that day that I was at Forest Park. So I think that was the last big push, the tail end of the monarchs for the season last weekend. So I'll share that with you here. So I think the monarchs left at a really great time because it is brisk this morning. Low 40s. I can't say I'd blame them. I would not want to wake up so early in the morning and start my migration over so many thousands of miles away. Whew. But something else we're doing here on site is seed collecting, starting up. And one of the projects that Adam is working on up near the glass house is removing some of the weedier species and gonna plant a nice mass planting of something. And we decided on bottlebrush grass, which is a nice native woodland grass. It grows in dry conditions that would be similar to what's up by the glass house. But we don't have a lot of bottlebrush grass here on site, so we decided we needed to go off-site to collect this plant so we can grow it in mass and then be able to collect seed from it later. It'll be a nice seed source for any of our drier areas that we want to get it established in. So we went to Shaw Nature Reserve, and so I thought I'd share a little bit about the grass so you can see what it looks like, and then show you the prairie overlook. It was just gorgeous that day. Just looking out over their oldest reconstructed prairie out there. So the last few things I'd like to share with you are some sneak peeks of some of the videos coming up, like the Desmodium Derby. Get ready, race fans, for the 2020 Desmodium Derby. The seeds are going to be flying in this exciting race, so keep an eye out. You don't want to miss this video. Video from the mist netting and bird banding research that's happening on site for the fall migration of birds. So our last sneak peek is a little bit of what MSD is doing for bank stabilization down here near the cabin. And I hope to sometime soon have a longer, more in-depth video about what MSD has been doing over the last 6 months or so. To give you a better understanding of what's been happening. So I have a lot of video of that, but we'll have to kind of wait and see on how much I can get into one video. But here's a little sneak peek. And then don't forget that we have 3 enrichments coming up that are scheduled. So we have one in October, one in November, and one in December. And we'll flash that right up on the screen right now of what those dates and times are. Don't forget that we also have this month of October the themed Explorer LREC walks. So make sure you come and visit, especially if you haven't had a chance to yet. We'd love to see you. And also, just a little suggestion, if you probably saw an email from Martha the other day, but just as a reminder, as the months get colder here, it's gonna make it a little bit harder. I'm gonna have to get my creative hat on to get good videos in every week to you once the weather starts getting colder and the plants go dormant. But send in your video ideas, so just keep that in mind, that things won't be blooming, and I won't be able to find certain plants, things like that, or certain animals. But send in video ideas that you can think of that you would like to see. If there's anything you'd like to learn about Litzinger that you think that we can answer for you. So please share those with Martha, and we'll talk to you soon. Hopefully we'll see you on one of the Explorer LREC tours. See you guys. Oh, and one more thing. I get asked about it a lot from volunteers. What's that thing on your head? Is that a GoPro camera? A flashlight? Actually, it is my macro lens for my cell phone. So it just clips onto my phone, and that's how I'm able to get those extreme close-ups of all those little flower parts and insects and bees and stuff. So yeah, so I'm able to take video through it just as well as photos. So I hope that answers that question for some of you who are curious. And now I'll see you later. Bye, guys. Sorry if you can't see me. My glasses keep fogging up. Anyways.